Welcome to Ultimate DIY, where you learn to be your own handyman. And today we are going to talk about something really interesting. We're going to talk about stripped out screws. Doesn't sound interesting, but if you're a DIYer, if you're in the construction industry, if you're in the auto industry, it is inevitable that it is going to happen to you and you are going to strip a screw out. Now, there are multiple reasons that you strip screws out. Some of the reasons are using impact type guns and triggering a little too hard, a little too fast, and trying to force a screw in or force a screw out, and you literally strip the heads out. And I have a couple here that are actually already stripped, but what we're going to do is we're going to insert a screw in here, and I'm going to use a drill out the head a little bit so that it simulates a strip screw, and I'm going to show you how you get it out. And the way that we're going to do that, by the way, is I'm going to use a product called VOSAF, and this little extractor kit is going to help you get a screw out. And if you are a DIYer, if you are in the construction industry, automotive, any of those things that I mentioned earlier, you want to have 1, 2, or 3 of these kits. Have them in your toolbox, have them in your tool pouches, have them wherever you're possibly going to be working, because I guarantee it's going to happen, and it's frustrating when it does. So let's get into the types of screws. Now, generally, the biggest, I shouldn't say biggest, generally the screw that I find that is stripped out the most is going to be a slotted screw like this here. It uses a slotted screwdriver, regular screwdriver. And that head, once you try to turn it a few times, especially if it's an old screw, it's been in something for a long time, could be in a piece of wood like furniture, could be holding something metal together, could be something holding something, could be something holding something in your car. And it will totally strip out. That's usually the one I see the most. But that's not to say that a Phillips like this, those strip out just as well, and especially if you're using the impact, and they will round out and get to the point sometimes you have to take a little bit bigger Phillips screwdriver, put it in. I'll use a hammer, bang it in enough, try to get it to hold, to get that thing to back out. And that does work sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes if you can re-drill and put another screw next to it, depending on what it is you're working on, maybe you can get that head up just enough to go ahead and use a multi-tool or a hacksaw blade and get that head off of there. But that doesn't always work, because a lot of times you got to put that screw back in the exact same spot. So you've got to find a way to get it out. The other thing, the other type of screw, and I've got one rounded out here on purpose just to kind of see if it would work, but this is a decking screw. Now, you're generally going to use these outside more, and they have multiple points. This is a T25, a T30. You'll see those a lot, but most decking screws that you're going to come across, if you're putting a deck outside, it's going to be a T25. And they don't strip out often, but they can, and it's happened to me before, especially if you hit a knot in the wood, it starts turning. If your impact bit that you are using to drive these, and that's generally what you are going to put a decking screw in with, if this starts wearing out and getting worn down, you're going to find that you're going to strip out some screws. So I'm going to go ahead and we are going to take, first of all, I'm just going to use a regular, let's get one that's brand new. There's a brand new one. I've got a block of wood here, and I'm going to use the DeWalt, and we're going to take this little Phillips head screw. This is a very common little wood screw that you'll come across quite a bit, and we're going to just drive it into the wood. Now, this would work the same whether it is in wood or whether it's in steel. This extractor kit works on either one. So you're going to drive it in, and it's all the way down. Now, just to show you, see, it's definitely a brand new screw and works very well. Now, another thing to keep in mind, if you're not working with wood and you're working with steel, A lot of times those screws can just get rusted over time. Sometimes you can soak that with a little cutting oil and WD-40, whatever you got around, and let it set for a little while, and a lot of times it'll start breaking loose. But if you've already got it stripped out, that's probably not going to help you a whole lot. I would still try to put some oil on it because it'll still help the extractor work and do its job and get it out. All right. So I've got it there. So now what I'm going to do is take my Milwaukee and we're going to round out the corners, not too much, just enough so that it is stripped. So I'm going to do that now. And actually, I've got that on low speed. We're going to move it back up. Yeah, it looks pretty stripped right there. Let's see if it'll back out. Now it is totally stripped. It's not going anywhere. So now it is stripped. It's in the wood. It's right here. I don't know if you can actually see that, but it is totally stripped out. So now we got to try to figure out how to get it out. So I'm going to take the Seth extractor kit. When you get this, it's going to come in an all plastic box like this, which is really great. Like I said, you can throw this in toolboxes, your bags, and this doesn't open very easily. So they do that on purpose so that you don't lose your extractors. But if you look, it's got a little slot here, and you have to kind of push in and lift up. There it is. You heard the pop. So now it is open, and you're going to open it up, and there are 6 different extractors in here. Now, if you're not familiar with an extractor, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Basically, it is a 2-headed drill bit, meaning one side, which is the small side and has little cutting edges on it, that is going to be the drill. I'm going to actually take my screw and drill deeper, as deep as I can without removing the head, and then I'm going to pull it out of my drill, flip it around, and now I have the extractor. And the extractor is the bigger, thicker piece of the two, and it has little threads all over it. That will be how we get it out of the unit. So now what I'm going to do is first I'm going to look at it and see which one I want. I feel like that one maybe is a little too big. We're going to try the next one down. Let's see what we got here. That looks like it'll do it. We'll try that and see how that works. If it doesn't work, we may have to pull it out and bump up to the next one. But what I'm looking for is I want it to be on this head, but I don't want it to be all the way to the edge of the head. You don't want to literally cut the head all the way out. If you do that, you're not getting the screw out. Now you're going to have to drill that screw out with a drill and use a tapper to tap new threads. So we're trying to avoid that, especially if it is a piece of metal. If it's a piece of wood, you could still drill it out, but it's going to be a mess, and you're going to have to try to go with something larger. It just creates a lot of problem. So let's go ahead, take this drill bit out, move it, set it over here, open my jaws a little bit bigger. We're going to start with the cutter, lock it into place. There we go, we're locked in. Now, the key to an extractor is do not go at full high speed. You're going to want to move it down. So I just moved my transmission down to a 1 from a 2. You have a clutch up in the front, you can do as well, but the big speed adjusters in the back are much easier. Just move it down, move it to the 1. Now, also, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Always remember that. Righty going clockwise is going to tighten the screw. Counterclockwise is going to loosen that screw. We're wanting to take it out. So everything I do with the extractor is going to be going back to the left, counterclockwise. So we make sure we're counterclockwise. There we go. And now we're going to start trying to drill it out at medium speed with light pressure. And you may find that the screw itself, while you're doing it, even starts to move a little, which this one moved up a little, which is a good indication I'm going to be able to get it out with this one. And sometimes if you get it up that much, you can take a pair of needle nose locking pliers, clamp it on there, and you can get that out. And this is the point, if it was in metal, I would be squirting some cutting oil underneath there to make sure that those threads are lubricated and that it's not rusted. that will help you. So now that I kind of have it drilled out where I want, all I'm going to do is take this bit out, make it a little bigger, and I'm going to flip it around to my threaded side. This side right here. Okay, put it back in, lock it into place, put it back into counter going reverse, and we should be able to pull this out. There you go. It is out and a little warm. There it is. All the way out. That quick, that easy. Works on metal, works on wood, pretty much anything that you're using to screw. If you're putting in a ceiling fan and you strip that head out, you can do the same thing there. There's multiple places and times that you can use this tool. So pick yourself up a set of the Val Saf extractors today. I don't think you'll regret it. Matter of fact, pick yourself up 2 or 3 of them and throw them around. If you're looking for a gift, by the way, for a husband, son, anybody who works with their hands for a living, any DIY, this is a great tool to buy as a gift. So pick some up today. I hope this helps, and we'll see you guys on the next review.